All right, YouTube, welcome to the Struggling Day Trader channel. I am your host, resident day trader, and your brother in the struggle. The name is Hassan, and I'm here to go over my trades for the day. All right, so last week was terrible, and I've started to really change my entire approach to the market. And I found myself in a place where I was lost and I didn't recognize anything around me because I just I started breaking apart everything that I was doing basically because I was making a lot of mistakes and breaking the rules of my strategy. And instead of staying focused on not breaking the rules, I started to feel like there was something wrong with my strategy and that I needed to move to another time frame, which really dramatically changes the way you trade. Well, for me, it was dramatically changing the way I traded. So after 2 days on the 5 minute chart and just feeling super lost and a lot of good input. One of the comments that really hit me over the weekend was whatever you do, don't trade your strategy because you're in a slump. And that's where I was. And the slump is not just because my strategy stopped working. It's just me literally taking trades outside of my strategy. And a lot of gut trades, and oh, I got a feeling trades. And so I had a nice weekend to reflect. I decided to go ahead and come back home to the 2 minute chart where I have like multiple years of experience watching the price action and trading. Um, and so I'm just going to stick there and I'm just going to focus on fine tuning my approach to what I believe is a good strategy for myself. So let's get into it. My first trade on AMD, technically, it's not a terrible setup. Um, it's a nice strong move up and a shallow retracement back to VWAP. But I really would like it to be a little less volume on the pullback, more narrow range on the candle, and not so far away from the top of the opening range. So this was really kind of an aggressive entry on my part, which, I mean, the way some of these stocks have been moving off the open, it kind of feels like that's the only way you're going to get in. But I would still rather let the thing go off without me before I take a low probability entry. And so, yeah, it's not a terrible, it's not like egregious as far as an entry goes, but it's still pretty close to the top of the range. You know, I'd like a better pullback, and a narrow range candle would let me buy in a little further off the top of the range. So, it did make a higher high after my entry, but ultimately it got slapped up there and turned around and stopped me out. So, AMD, I'll say this is extended from HVS support, which is where I like to take my entry. So really I only had one level of support to support this entry, which was VWAP. And I really like to have two levels of support. Um, which could be yesterday's high. If it came down just a little bit more and tested this down here. But I mean, it eventually broke through all of those levels. So, sometimes you're just wrong. Sometimes the trade just doesn't work. I don't think my entry was egregious, but I would have rather had the entry somewhere down here where I could put my stop a little further down below the top of the range. But either way, it would have stopped out. So I won't say that my stop placement. I just, I'd rather have something that doesn't run so far away from the opening range before pulling back. I really wanted to pull back before then, just to let me on. It's a little safer for me to get on at that point. But I mean, some things just go. Like Google today. Google just went, man, and it. I mean, you might you might call that a pullback, but I mean, all these candles are green. You get this pullback here, but at that point, you know, you're where are you going to enter? Unless you just buy the dip at VWAP, there's really no entry there. So, yeah, anyway, aggressive entry didn't work out. I would say the biggest thing is just that I bought really high, really close to the top of the range. Near top of range. Really want to be in the 50% area ish. There's a better entry. And I really want the pullback to happen before it gets too far extended from the opening range. So, yeah. Anyway, risk was managed pretty decently on that one, minus 1R, which is now $5, a very tolerable $5. So, not bad. Not bad. Next trade was on MU. Man, this was a really nice trade. I was actually a little late to it because I was fumbling around with AMD. Which, I mean, I missed a really good entry. And this is what I mean about it pulling back from the top of the range. Like, when with this type of pullback, you get a really nice narrow range entry very close to the opening range. You know? So you can buy there. You can put your stop below the opening range, below the top of the opening range. And it's below VWAP. Really nice setup. Really high risk to reward off of this narrow range entry here. But I missed that one. But it did make a higher high and came back to test the previous high, which is a really clean uptrend. And typically on those kind of uptrends, you can still jump in on the next higher low, which is what I did. Stop under the low of this candle, and we got 3R. Like, boom. This was really nice to see after days of not taking profit on a good win. I had a couple good trades last week, but I didn't take profit on them. Amazon was one I can remember that went into Target, and I did not take profit, ended up stopping out on. But today, I was really, really intent on. I actually put my initial take profit at 2R, but when I saw it moving up there, I felt like it had the strength to go to 3R pretty easily. So I moved my take profit to 3R, and I moved my stop up to break even once we got to 2R, just to make sure that I at least earned the right to take my risk off, you know, at 2R. And yeah, it worked out great. Didn't see any red on this trade at all. Traded straight up pretty much to target. Consolidated a little bit right here. And this is when I realized that I should move my target up a little bit more. Because if it breaks up from this consolidation, it should go up well into my 3R target. Which, I mean, it didn't go that far. This candle went up to 76. My take profit order was at 74. So, really nice trade on MU. So it was above VWAP. I know Ben was looking at me kind of sideways on it, but I think this is a very good second place to enter. If you can't get in here. You got the higher high, you got a higher low, and it's right here at the previous high. Like, this is the way I like to see price build on itself. Same here with this opening range that gets created, this highest volume of the day on this first candle, sets the top of the opening range, breaks over, comes back to retest, and then makes a higher high again. So this was a really nice mover, and played it very well. Bought second and higher low. 3R. Boom. Okay, my last two trades were. These are the type of trades where I feel like I missed the move and I'm wanting to get a bounce on the back end of the move. And I really don't want to play these at all. If I could just realize this in the moment and stay out of this kind of trade, that would be cool. Like, I really want to focus on the opening momentum and get good positions on that first move that gets made throughout the day. And if it's something where I can take some profits and hold some, then I can see some of the move that happens later in the day. But trying to catch a bounce, unless it's like super ideal, like it's a really nice moving stock where you can just see, okay, this is a great place to buy. But like this Microsoft trade, subpar for sure. Opening range is way down here. I think this is previous day's high, way down here. So really, this is up at resistance. It's much closer to the top of the range than it is to the middle. Definitely far away from the opening range. So I mean, there's a lot of reasons not to take this trade. The move clearly has been made, clearly, and with this type of move, you're going to expect a long consolidation, if not a deep pullback. So yeah, I would rather stay out of this type of trade. I did wait to see a higher high, higher low, but it was just kind of weak, kind of a weak play. And I mean, it did end up going up a little bit, but not before stopping me out. I really just want to stay out of these trades that happen. Move was made. Tried to catch second bounce. And didn't even let it come all the way down to VWAP too, so yeah, poor execution on that one for sure. That's one that I'm regretting. I don't too much regret my AMD trade, but I do regret that Microsoft trade, and I also regret this Nvidia trade really, because this was pretty choppy in here. I don't know why I couldn't see that at the moment, but it's a pretty choppy, consolidating type of stock right here. And yeah, again, I was just being very technical of as far as making a higher high and a higher low, but not really paying attention to whether or not the stock is trading smoothly. Got a lot of top and bottom tails everywhere, a lot of alternating colors, meaning it's like a tug of war. There's not like a decided direction. So really the move was made here and then just started into a long consolidation. So really, I just want to focus on this upward momentum in the beginning of the day, and like I got my stop time at 11. Maybe it should be at 10:30. Even though both of these trades were inside of 10:30, but really, man, the move is done. The move is done by 10:15. Really, I don't know anything that hadn't already made its move by 10:15. I don't know. AMD did have a late rally, but I don't know how takeable that was for my plan. So yeah, Nvidia move was made. Tried to catch second bounce. Bought inside consolidation. Which, I mean, it definitely could have broken up from the consolidation, but that's not how I want to play. My goal isn't to play consolidations. My goal is to play the trend, and I missed the trend. This thing just didn't give any kind of entry on its way up, and that happens sometimes. You just gotta lay off of those, My trade was MU. Like, really, this is the main one I was excited about that I felt like had some sort of catalyst on the day. I thought it had a pretty nice daily setup. It looked good to me. And if I would have focused on that one, I probably wouldn't have had this loss on AMD. And maybe I would have been good to just stick with that. I mean, I do want to be trading, but there was nothing else to take. So had a good trade on MU, and my losses were small enough on the other three that I traded to end on a green day. It's a small green day, but it's not a red day. So that's positive. Nice way to start the week. I can't tell you how nice it was to see this 3R win on MU. after struggling so hard last week and just feeling so completely out of my zone. But this is my setup. This is pretty much the price action that I like to see at the open. And when I see this type of price action, usually I can make it work, you know? So my biggest challenge is just sitting on my hands when I don't see this type of action, right? Like, I feel like there's a pretty big difference between this type of run up and the MU run up, you know? It's just a little more, um, it's not as aggressive. It's strong, but it's not as aggressive. We got to move up, and then we pull back nicely, and then make another aggressive move up with long, wide-ranging green candles. So this is a really nice stock to catch today. Tomorrow, just do the same thing. I'm really been wanting to focus on the stocks that have a reason to move. So MU had a price upgrade today. Numerous people were talking about it. I think that was a really good one to check on. And it worked out great. It traded really nicely. Apple had an amazing day today. Apple was pretty... I can see myself trading Apple. I can see myself wanting to jump in right in there. But, yeah, I could definitely see myself wanting to jump in right there. Maybe putting my stop under that candle, you know. But anyway, a good day. A green day and a good win, you know, a good win. And, yeah, man, I'm back on the 2-minute chart. All I got to do is just take my time and just look at the trades. Look at the price action, right? I've seen all of these patterns before. I've seen them before. I need to really make like a Rolodex of the failing patterns and the clean patterns, because I've seen them before. You know, it all happens over and over again. You know, these aggressive moves up like on AMD. I've seen this before, and that's why I really don't like it when it moves up that aggressively and then just has kind of a really short pullback. You know, I really wanted to come back to the opening range, and I wanted to make narrow range candles. So this was not that. This was, I mean, and I remember before I took it, I was kind of tweaking the chart a little bit to try to make it not look as crazy. Like, okay, it don't look so bad right there, you know, because sometimes the scale of the chart will throw you off. But yeah, it really doesn't look that bad right here. But yeah, so I'm not terribly upset at myself for this trade, but I can definitely see how I could have stayed out of it, and I would rather stay out of this type of trade. So anyway, I don't want to make this too long. Back up at 18 minutes again. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe if you haven't. I'm here every morning trading the market live, putting it all out there, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We have a great time on the live stream, you know, throwing ideas at each other, chatting. We also have a Discord. The link is in the description. We hang out there outside of market hours. And I think we got a nice community going here, man. It's been all love. It's been lots of support. Anyway, that's all I got. Appreciate you guys. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.